Sounds good.
All right, bud. Here we go.
Asher, you going to be right here at the beginning?
Record. She should. She should. He or she?
It's a she, actually.
Okay.
She's got a boy's name, but it's a she.
Did Dick Butkus die today?
Did he?
They just released that. They just put that out.
He did die, though, right?
Yeah, he's dead.
Well, they don't make him like him much anymore.
No, they don't.
Oh, hey, one thing. I don't know how you got your phone set up, but is there any way you can turn it sideways so we get a wider view? Or is that going to be a pain in the ass?
I got it on a deal here. Give me a second.
All right.
Oh, man.
Yep. It's a vertical world, and we're the pain in the... Yeah, that's perfect right there.
All right.
Cool. All right, here we go. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Boom, and welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Ducks Unlimited. I am Jeff Stanfield with the world-famous Andy Shaver. We'll have a big Ducks Unlimited exclusive... what's the word I'm looking for?
Boy, you got away with words.
I have jacked this all the fuck up.
You've got away with words.
Ducks a new release, a press release we will have next week from Ducks Unlimited. So that's what it is. Yes. Why are you looking at me like I'm stupid for?
Yeah, all that.
I could not
2
think
minutes
of it.
we've been going, and that
I couldn't get the words out.
I'm press release.
I'm getting old. Maybe that's the problem. With us today.
You look nice tonight, though.
Well, thank you. Had a funeral today. Somebody had to die to make me look this good. With us today from Effingham, Illinois, country music recording star, Mr. Tyson Schult. Tyson, how are you doing, sir?
Doing good. How are you?
Doing wonderful. You got a really good song out. And I'm a big fan of it because I don't like very much music from today, and I really like this song. It's called "God Bless Gun Dogs." Did you write this song?
I sure did. Yep.
And I can see by looking at you that you damn sure love bird dogs.
You have got dogs all over you.
I got the other one right here. She wants me to throw her toy. Come here, Nova. Come here and say hi. She's like, no. This is the other one right here.
Now,
she's hanging out.
What kind of dogs?
Yeah, man, I grew up with pointers. This would be my first lab, but yeah, we grew up with them, so really hit home for me. So it was easy to write, to be honest with you.
How long? Take me into that process. How long does it take? Like, did you sit down trying to write a squeaky toy? Did you sit down trying to write a song kind of like this, or it just kind of came to you?
It kind of just came to me, to be honest with you. How I write music is more or less I got like a phrase or a saying or a thought, and so I can't remember where I came across it, but I remember hearing that phrase, "God bless gun dogs." And I remember thinking to myself, I was like, man, that's a song if I've ever heard one, And like I said, I grew up with hunting dogs. I mean, we'd go pheasant hunting all the time. I grew up right on the Mississippi River, so we'd go duck hunting out there in the blinds and stuff. You got to draw those, but that's a whole nother story. Nonetheless, so one day I just sat down and I was strumming the guitar, and next thing you know, the words just started falling in place, and here I have a song called "God Bless Gun Dogs." So now from there, the process is a lot more difficult to getting it on a streaming platform for y'all to hear. But honestly, it was probably easier to write than it was to get it to the point where anybody and everybody can listen to it.
What? So when you write a song and you release a song, you don't just have a channel that iTunes will let you put your song on?
So kind of. I mean, so it's I'm telling you right now, I was a hunter and a livestock kid long before I even started pursuing music. And it's a full-time job, man. I didn't realize how much goes into it. You gotta like back it up through a couple other websites and stuff. But I used a distribution software platform called DistroKid. And so if you upload your song to that, the long and the short of it is, it'll dish it out to all of these streaming platforms. So you don't really upload it to iTunes or Apple Music or Spotify. You upload it to DistroKid, and they distribute it all out to everywhere you can listen to it, even YouTube.
Yeah. That's kind of the way it is with a podcast. Like, you have a podcast hosting site, you upload it to that, and then you actually choose where you want it to go from there. So Apple, Spotify, and then, I mean, those are the two big ones. Like, you got to have it on, and then all the others are just kind of if you feel like it. But I mean, like, you know, like you said, you're not uploading it to each individual streaming platform.
No, yeah. And man, there's so many things I didn't even know had music. I didn't even know they're like music platforms. And it gives you like a list of 40 places or so that this is going to go, you know? And so, like you said, the big ones are Spotify and Apple Music. You know, you want to make sure you're set up for those. But I've come to find out a lot of people listen to Pandora and Amazon Music and YouTube as a source for music. So there's definitely some other key players in it too. But yeah, learning experiences. This is my first song I've ever put out. I've got more coming, but this one's probably the closest to home for me. And so I wanted to put it out first.
Just wait. Like, now that you know how to do this, you're going to have people messaging you on how to get their fucking song on these streaming platforms. I don't know what it is. We started a podcast, and like all of a sudden I became the podcast expert. Anybody that wanted to start a podcast would message me. And it's like, dude, if I were to start another podcast tomorrow, I would have to go back to YouTube to figure out all the steps. Like, I don't just have that just stuck here anymore. Like, I had a video. I would watch it. I would pause it. I would do it on I would go back to the computer screen, do that, and then I'd watch a little bit more, pause it. It's like, do that. I don't know how to do it. It's fucking complicated.
Yeah. Yeah, we got this great thing nowadays called YouTube. Watch it.
Yeah.
Well, everybody that's...
Honestly, I had to write it all down. Like, I had somebody feed me the information. I'm sitting here just trying to take notes. Like, okay, you know, my producer in Nashville is like, okay, you got to do this and this and this and that and this, and don't forget that. And you got to call this guy one time, and then he's going to make you call this guy, and you got to upload it here. And it's like, okay, yeah. So I'm gonna watch a little bit of YouTube, take some of these notes, and go from there. So, but yeah, dude, our German short hair is very vocal. She's probably gonna be talking more than me this whole time.
So, do you are you touring or anything? Or you play live music every weekend?
You know, actually, this is probably my biggest weekend coming up right now. I've never had a 3-show weekend, but I got a show on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this weekend. But really, I've just been playing across Illinois. So I kind of have the benefit that I grew up in northern Illinois, but now I live down in southern Illinois. And then, like, all my extended family's from, like, central Illinois. So I've kind of got connections within about a 6-hour, you know, total diameter, I guess you'd call it. So I've been kind of doing the Illinois hometown tour, I guess you could call it. But I lived in Wichita, Kansas for a little while out that way, working for ADM. And so I got some friends out there that own a bar. I might venture out there and play there. I'm going to play in Missouri, probably next year sometime. And then I've got a couple shows in Indiana. But I guess you could call it a poor man's tour, I guess.
Well, you got to start somewhere, right?
Well,
I know, right?
We've had a few struggling artists on that. One of them, she's made it big since she was on here.
She was
Really?
big.
Megan Patrick. I mean, she's bigger now. She's a lot bigger now.
That was 3 years ago.
I give her success for being on here. That's where I give her credit for.
Hey man, you gotta take it when you can.
Well,
get
she
it,
also
right?
married very well too, because her husband, isn't he a recording artist?
Mitchell Tenpenny.
Oh yeah, I know who Mitchell Tenpenny is. Yeah, that makes good sense. See, I guess I didn't. Well, I'm not married, but I got a girlfriend of 6 years, and she's over here, and she's probably sitting here giving me the stare down. But believe it or not, one of these deer behind me is hers. So I guess I'm going the other direction. I like a hunting woman, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it would be a tough road with two of you doing the same thing. I mean, because like if both of you hit, you're never going to see each other.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah, unless you're touring together. Unless like. Who was Johnny Cash? It was Johnny Cash and June Carter. Yeah, unless you do Johnny Cash and June Carter status.
Or Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift.
Yeah, oh God. You know, I have watched some of your guys' podcasts leave the beginning, and I know, Jeff, that's That's a pretty hot topic.
Oh,
for
she's
you.
such a liberal bitch.
She put him on the map, though.
Yeah, she bullshit on that.
What are
Yes,
you
ma'am.
talking about? He had
Travis Kelce, everybody, he's fucking famous as shit.
He's got plus 1 million followers since he started dating her.
Yeah.
So she put him on the map.
Plus 1 million, a bunch of liberal fucking twat waffles. I mean, it don't matter. It's not like his real people are following him now because of her.
Well,
there ain't no real man in the world thinking, you know what? That old boy that Taylor Swift, that's who I want to be hanging out with.
Let me ask you this. Is he more famous now?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Yes.
We're done.
Let me tell you something.
Done. We're good. We're done.
I don't know who your girlfriend is,
We're
but
done.
she's been with you 6 years. She shoots deer and she hunts and she likes dogs. She is a trophy.
Oh,
Taylor
yeah.
Swift
Yeah,
is
she
not
def-
a trophy at all. That's like dating a Kardashian without the sex films.
Yeah, don't say that too loud. If Sydney hears you call her a trophy, she's gonna let that go.
Well, that's okay. She is. I mean, she's a stand by your man woman.
Yes,
That's a
she
good to have. But
Absolutely. Yeah, she's grinning from ear to ear
you're good
right
for
now.
her. Well,
Shoot. To be honest with you, boys, I love football too. I'm a huge football fanatic, and actually, the Chiefs have lost once this year, and I was at that game. I'm a Lions fan.
Oh, are you?
So oh yeah, but I'm a huge Lions fan, so I'm about ready to watch the Bears get whooped on by the
So
Commanders.
hold on.
It's
Have you
exciting.
been a Lions fan your whole life, or is this a 2-year thing?
Oh yeah.
it's from Northern Illinois.
Man.
That's right outside. What are you, a couple hours, 3 hours from Detroit where you grew up at?
So actually, I grew up on the Mississippi River in Illinois, Northern Illinois. So I'd be 3 hours from Chicago, about 6 hours from Detroit. But
I was thinking of Indiana.
I guess the long story short is my dad lived down in Wichita for a little while, about the same time that Barry Sanders was coming up through high school. And so Dad kind of followed him through high school and through Oklahoma State. And so Dad just kind of naturally became a Lions fan because of Barry. And then me and my brother just kind of followed suit. And so, man, we struggled through 0-16. I was there, 0-16, man. But, yeah, hopefully this is our year. I'm not expecting anything more than maybe a playoff win. That'd be nice. I'd appreciate that.
I had a guy that hunted with me last year, and we were talking about Barry Sanders, and he played football at Oklahoma. And he told me when he was at Oklahoma, I think Barry Switzer was still the coach at Oklahoma when Thurman Thomas, he had to have been. Anyways, Barry Switzer told the guys, he said, listen, don't fucking hurt Thurman Thomas because Barry Sanders, that kid comes in, he's a whole lot better than Thurman Thomas was. Barry Sanders is probably the greatest college running back to ever play the game. I'm sure there's going to be some Ohio State guy is going to come out and tell me Archie Griffin or whatever it was, but Barry Sanders is the most electrifying player to ever play in the NFL as a running back, I think, still to this day.
Oh, yeah. I don't disagree. I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due. I mean, Walter Payton was good in his own craft.
Yes,
you know,
he was.
And Barry was really good at what he did, you know, and then you got, Gale Sayers was really good and Damian Tomlinson, all them guys were really unique in their own way. But even with Emmitt Smith in the conversation, I know you boys are Texas boys, but it took Emmitt Smith 16 years to do what Barry and Walter did in 10. And so I don't discredit him for that. I mean, that dude's a stud to be playing 16 years at a position like that. But those three guys, man, they earn the respect that they get.
I don't think Emmitt Smith's even a top 5 running back. He is the all-time leading rusher in the NFL, but it was all because of the system. He was a really good running back. Don't get me wrong, a great running back. But he played behind an offensive line that was out of this world. If Barry Sanders would have played behind Emmitt Smith's line, he would have had 2,500 yards rushing every year just about. But Emmitt was a good back and a good person. I'm not trying to dog on him or not.
Oh, yeah.
But if you did a list, it's kind of like Troy Aikman. When you do a list of the top 10 quarterbacks, Troy Aikman's not even mentioned on there ever. I don't think Emmitt Smith's a top 5 running back, even though he's the all-time leading rusher of all time. I just don't think it's happening. But nobody's ever going to touch his record because people are not going to run the ball ever again like that.
Right.
Yeah, they just don't. They don't run like they used to. And honestly, I like what Detroit's doing with their running backs and just their offense in general. Is they recognize that nobody runs anymore, so they're kind of punishing you for it. They got a powerhouse running back, just kind of drive it right down the throat. But then they got what everybody else uses a running back for anymore. It's just kind of like a flat / additional slot receiver, and they got both of those. So, they're kind of keeping that balance of what everybody else is trying to do, but they're still jamming it down your throat, you know? And so I think people are going to catch on to that, but there's no doubt the running back position has definitely molded over time to something completely different.
I think going to Detroit was one of the best things that could have happened to Goff.
Oh,
I really do.
By far. They lucked into that deal so bad. They thought they were doing themselves a favor getting rid of Matt Stafford, and they took on that contract, and they thought, at least we start over. I don't think they had any idea what they were getting with Jared Goff.
No.
They're stupid to even draft a young quarterback right now other than the third or fourth round. They've got a legit franchise quarterback for the next 6 years.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what we got with it? We got a bunch of first-round draft picks, which has set us up with Penny Sewell and Aiden Hutchinson and Jameson Williams. We've got – and it's funny, I laughed. Right now we've got one of the best tight ends in the league. We've got one of the best additional running backs in the league. We've got one of the best linebackers in the league. We've got one of the best safety turn cornerbacks in the league, and they're all rookies. And everybody was sitting there talking smack on our picks, in the first and second round. They're like, oh, man, they're reaching, But, man, look at them guys. They're doing some crazy things.
I saw a stat on Aiden Hutchinson today. He is one of only 4 NFL players in history to have 6 sacks, 3 interception recoveries, and 3 interceptions and 3 or 4 forced fumbles, or whatever it was. But anyways, whatever he did, he's one of only 4 guys that's ever done that. His name is not in the context of being a defensive MVP, but it's coming because.
I saw that same stat. It's 10 sacks. 3 interceptions, and I think 2 fumbles, and one of the other names up there with them was Brian Urlacher. And so it's like, it's crazy. The dude's a beast, and he's humble. We needed that loss from Seattle week 2, but and it wasn't easy to get that loss in overtime, but nonetheless, I hope Detroit stays humble like we've always been. We were 0-16 once. Come on, guys. Let's act like we know what it's like to lose, and appreciate the win.
Y'all were humble because y'all got y'all's ass beat for so long.
Yeah, exactly.
That helped the humble part for a long way, but really an up and coming deal. Okay, let's talk about the singing career. So you're playing 3 shows this week.
Yep.
I'm assuming you are new in the music business, right?
Yeah, very new.
So do you have groupies yet?
He's got a girlfriend.
I've got.
Got one that goes home with you every time.
I've got a small local following. I've played for some people at private parties at their house and stuff because they came to shows and they wanted to have their own little, get together because they like what we got going on. But to be honest with you, I have a huge TikTok following, like a loyal TikTok following. It's kind of crazy. I only have 35,000 followers on TikTok, which I say only, that's a decent chunk, but I'll go live, and it's a slow night if I don't have 120 people in there at all times. And so we'll get 10, 20, 30,000 people come through there every night. So I would say I built a really, really loyal fan base on TikTok, and I guess I've been building a decent enough fan base locally that I've been starting to be asked to come back and play some familiar places, and I'm scheduling out 3 or 4 shows at one bar for the next 6-7 months or so. So I'm doing this all myself though. That's the thing. Like, I work a full-time job. I work for a company called ConAgra, and so I'm working a full-time job, but I'm my own booking agent. I'm my own manager. Sydney's helping with the social media stuff. So it's definitely a balancing act.
Since we've done this podcast, we've had 4 or 5 guys on that were starting, or just not mainstream artists that are on the radio all the time, but guys like you. And it opened my eyes up to how many people in the United States are like that. Every area's got a guy, a band, or, I grew up, we had a local band in Wichita Falls where I grew up at that played, and they had a couple of songs out that were almost hits. Nothing big, but it was a different world then. But they were locally, stayed busy. They played every weekend somewhere locally and made a living at it. And all it takes is one break, one song to bust through, and then all of a sudden you're set for the rest of your life.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'd be content being a one-hit wonder. I tell you what, I don't need much more than that. But I'm telling you, man, with the way social media is anymore, it's either really easy or really hard because it's a very polluted market anymore. But on top of it, it's so easy to get yourself out there if you do it right and you've got a talent and you actually have something good to bring to the table. But yeah, there's tons of other guys around here too that are doing it as well, that play a lot of the same places that I do, and kind of created a little hometown network of helping each other out. If I can't do a show, I'll recommend another group of guys or another band or solo act to go play places. But that's one thing I've discovered about the music industry too, is you're right, there's tons of other people just like me in it, and we're all pretty grounded, and so we're all willing to help each other. I've created a lot of good friends through this, and they're all willing to give a helping hand, and I try to be the same.
Who's your who is one of your favorite artists, old time artists that are out there?
Oh man, you're gonna test me with that. Well, right now I got like an obsession with that kind of, I don't even want to call it folky, but I mean, I'm going to go with a guy who's less mainstream than typical, like Tyler Childers and Zach Bryan and those guys. But because I kind of like that genre-ish. But like Josh Malloy and Austin Meade, those kind of guys, I like that stuff. They're independent artists too that play really good music of that kind of genre. But man, if I was to go back in time and say who is the artist that kind of helped me, I don't know, realize that I might be able to do this, it's probably Gary Allan.
Oh,
Watching Airplanes,
he's awesome.
I love that song.
He is awesome. I listened to he's got another song, God dang it, about him. He has to make a decision between his wife and his job, and I can't remember the name of the damn song.
Yeah, right where I need
to be. That is a great song.
Oh yeah, you know what? You want to hear something really cool? I had a unique opportunity to do a couple things the past couple years, and I'll break into that. But I actually got to open up for the guy who wrote that song. His name's Kendall Marvel, and he was actually the opener for Brooks and Dunn. So I guess through Stair Step, I can say I opened up for Brooks and Dunn. But that was a contest that the state of Illinois had put on. The Illinois State Fair put on this big contest, and you had to qualify and do a bunch of other stuff. Well, long story short, not only did I win it in 2021, I won it again in 2022, and I got the chance to open up for some pretty household names, but I don't want that to be the highlight of my career, so I'm sitting here pushing it. But I opened up for Craig Morgan and Toby Keith. Right now, man, I'm holding tight to that Toby Keith opportunity because what he's going through, prayers to him. He's got a lot on his plate, but that's a really cool opportunity. And then the next year was Kendall Marvel and Brooks and Dunn. But I guess I really didn't know who Kendall Marvel was at that point in time. But then I realized he wrote that song right where I need to be. It's a good tune.
Did you see that fucking video of Toby Keith a couple days ago? Came
real
out?
Thin.
that song he sang. Oh my God, it's all over. It's on TikTok. I promise you. Just go type in Toby Keith. Toby Keith old man, and it'll all pull up.
What's it about?
The song he sang.
What's the name of the song? Old Man?
Oh, Don't Let the Old Man In.
I guess I haven't heard that.
Oh my goodness, he wrote it for Clint Eastwood. I heard.
Yeah, the movie The Mule.
Yeah. He wrote it for that movie. I've never seen it.
Yep. It's a very, very good movie.
But yeah,
great movie.
And he's up there. Movie. I don't know how much he weighs now, but you know what Toby Keith used to look like back in the heyday, and he's just skin and bones, and his wife's in the audience, she's bawling, but a lot of people don't know if he's going to pull through this, but just Don't Let the Old Man In. He did it at the Country Music Awards last week, and it is a fucking tearjerker and a half.
I'm gonna have to check that out. I hope Toby's unhappy on Saturday because his Sooners play my Longhorns, and I hope he's a loser on that. But I wish him the best. He seemed like a really
stomach
cool dude.
Cancer, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty bad too. I think stage 4 or something.
Pretty bad.
But
he's been fighting it. He's been fighting it for a few years.
I saw Brooks and Dunn in concert. 30 years ago, maybe. Damn it! It was 30 freaking years ago. It was right when they got really, really big. Still to this day,
what was it? Neon Moon. What was their first one?
Neon Moon was their first big hit, but they all Boot Scootin' Boogie.
Oh yeah.
Neon Moon. That same deal. It was their next album after that. They came and played, and I went to an outdoor concert, and there was probably 50,000 people there. But it may be the best concert I've ever been in my life to. They put on a hell of a show. A hard working man.
I tell you what, so I got the chance to do that twice. I opened up for them guys on the grandstand stage, and in 21 when it was Craig Morgan and Toby Keith, don't get me wrong, the crowd was big. It wasn't small by any means, but in 2022 for Brooks and Dunn and Kendall Marvel, that crowd was huge. I mean, it was massive at the point in time, like 2.5 hours before Brooks and Dunn even took the stage, and I was up there. There was, I don't know, what do you think, 5,000 people out there? There was a ton of people out there. So I don't doubt it one bit. They definitely draw a crowd, and they still do to this day.
We got a group of guys from Louisiana that hunt with me, and one of them's cousins with either Ronnie or Kicks, and I can't remember which one he's cousins with, but they picked him up. He lived in Shreveport, and they were playing in New Orleans, and they picked him up at his house on their tour bus. And he said he rode with them, and he says it was a party from Shreveport to New Orleans. And when we got to New Orleans, they gave me a black pants and a black shirt. And they said, "You're going to be on stage with us." He goes, "I can't play any fucking instrument at all." He said, "Nope." He said, "You're going to play the tambourine with us." And he sat up there and had a tambourine and hit it along. And he said, "I was on stage the whole fucking night with him." He says, "Best time of my whole life."
That's awesome. Dude, man, I would love that opportunity. Just give me a cowbell. I'll have the time
I don't
of my
need
life,
much.
bro.
Need more cowbell.
I don't need much to make this go. Just put me up there and let me play.
Nobody has cowbells in music anymore.
I bet they do. You just can't hear them.
Motley Crue used to.
I think he froze. Are you there?
We're froze again.
Frozen.
There you go.
We're
There-
back now. I was like, I think
there
the
we
frozen
go.
there.
I was watching an interview with Steven Tyler with Howard Stern, and they were talking about Sweet Emotion, and they were recording it, and I guess they have some weird instrument at the very beginning, and it broke. So they needed to replicate that sound. So he went and got sugar packets, and they turned the microphone volume all the way up, and he was there just shaking sugar packets into the microphone, and that's how they got. If you listen, you can hear it break, and then if you hear it again, you know it's obviously sugar packets now.
What song?
Sweet Emotion.
Yeah.
I'll be a son of a bitch. I would have never thought that.
It's at the very beginning, like the intro part. He's just sitting there shaking a sugar packet. Yeah, I've seen that same video.
I mean, artists and musicians are some of the coolest. I mean, they're strange fuckers. I mean, you seem very down to earth, but I'm sure you got some quirks to you. But it's, they're these weird guys that produce these amazing things.
I can't believe you called him weird.
Oh, man.
I didn't call him weird.
I can't believe he called you weird. I mean, do you shower with midgets?
Hey, man.
We're all weird. I'm one of the weirdest fuckers you'll ever. I got more.
He's not wrong though, man. I tell you what. I for the little time I spent in Nashville recording these songs, and I've been to Nashville before, Broadway scene, go party, drink some beer, have a good time. But going down there as an actual aspiring wannabe musician, right? You start running into these different cats, people that do this for a living. And I'm like, man, I'm definitely the black sheep here. I don't belong. It's like, I don't know I felt like Ricky Bobby in his interview. I don't know what to do with my hands. I'm just sitting here hanging out. I don't really know how to act, But you're right. Honestly, though, you watch them guys just do their thing and do their craft. They come up with some crazy stuff. And that's what brings the music to your ears that people want to hear, If they didn't have that crazy mindset, we probably wouldn't have half the songs that we like to listen to on repeat. You know?
I don't think musicians are as quirky as fucking actors are, though.
I don't know many actors, if any at all. So I tell you what, if this breaks out and I get a chance to go, play a casting act in Hollywood, I'll let you know.
Right.
I would appreciate that. Most of the people I've been around actors, I haven't been around a whole bunch of my life, they're very different. Like John Wayne, we want to think of him as this American hero. He was probably a strange fucker in the side too.
I don't know. I mean, could you imagine being at the peak that Guns N' Roses was and going on tour? Like the mental grind, the physical grind that those guys had to put up with. Are
you picking them to be a normal people?
We were talking about musicians.
I know I said musicians or actors, and you pulled Guns N' Roses, who I love.
You pulled out fucking John Wayne.
I'm just talking about he probably was strange.
What are you... I mean, you're getting on me for pulling out Guns N' Roses. You pulled out John Wayne, one of the greatest American actors ever.
I'm not getting on to you. And I thought you were going to say this, they're really normal people. I don't think Guns N' Roses got anybody normal in them. They're damn sure not now.
You just said John Wayne was probably pretty weird.
Yeah, because he's an actor, and most of them are. Clint Eastwood, for example. Clint Eastwood, I really like Clint Eastwood, but I bet you he's a quirky fucker on the side. I bet he is.
Oh,
I bet you're right. Honestly, I can't help but think the same thing about guys like Sam Elliott. You
Yeah.
know,
Oh,
like I watch his shows and his movies, and I'm like, you're probably a lot like me, but I doubt it. You know, if I ever got the chance to sit down and talk to you, I mean, are you really that way in real life? I don't know. You know?
don't put yourself down like that. You're a whole lot more enjoyable to be around than Sam Elliott is. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, you could sit and drink a beer with you. Sam Elliott's not a sit around and drink a beer type of guy.
have you had an opportunity to? Am I missing something here?
Yes, I've known Sam a long time. Sam's no different than fucking Kevin Costner. It's another fucking liberal. But plays roles that you really like Kevin Costner. Kevin Costner plays roles that you think, I don't give a shit. You can't pick a role Kevin Costner hasn't played, I don't think. From The Guardian, Dances with Wolves, the Yellowstone guy. He always plays a role that you really, really like. And he's another twat waffle just like Tom Hanks is.
You do realize they get paid to do this, right? Like they get paid to pull out an emotional reaction from you. Like that's their job.
Well, he do a good job of it because I ain't got use for a lot of them. And there are actors out there that are really good guys. I would like to think that John Wayne was really kind of the way he portrayed himself. But most of the guys in Hollywood, Robert De Niro and them, they're really freaking out there. They don't live in the real world.
And that's why they're out there.
Yes.
I bet you one guy, he quite literally is, you see what you get, is Adam Sandler.
Yes.
I bet if you got a chance to visit with Adam Sandler, he's the exact same person that you see on TV.
And very, very loyal to his friends. He has made what's the guy's name that's Rob Schneider or not? What's the little dark head guy?
Rob Schneider.
Yeah, he's made him a ton of money over the years, and I like Rob Schneider. He's pretty realistic about life. I had a really good friend of mine, and Andy knows this well. He worked for Burt Reynolds for a long time, around Burt a lot, and he told me one time of all the people in Hollywood, he met a lot of Hollywood people. The person that was most like the person they portray on TV was Jerry Reed.
I don't know Jerry Reed.
You ever seen Smokey and the Bandit? Snowman.
I don't remember.
Yeah, Snowman. Drives the truck.
Oh, that guy?
Eastbound and Down. He had a bunch of songs. He wrote a couple of big songs for Elvis.
Was a singer?
Yes. Yeah, he was a singer before he was an actor. But and a very successful one too. Matter of fact, he wrote U.S. Mail, which was Gary Player played, I think, or Gary Bonds played. Also, he wrote that song for Elvis Presley because Elvis Presley fired a bunch of his songwriters. They said, you need to write like that boy does. But Jerry Reed was very successful. But Matt told me that Jerry Reed is exactly in person the way he is on TV. He doesn't act at all.
But let me ask you this. In your songwriting experience, you can't just be like, hey, write like that guy. Because, like, don't you kind of have to, like, write something that is close to you?
I mean, I've had a lot of people reach out to me and send me like their idea of a lyrical song, you know, and say, hey, finish this or write this or make this your own. And it's like, you know, I'm not saying that this couldn't be a good song. I just don't know how to write it. You know, I gotta know what I'm talking about, or, you know, be able to navigate through the thought process to put enough, you know, context in to make a song, you know. And if I don't know anything about it or don't know enough about it, that's really hard, you know. So and that's the other thing too, is so many people have different writing styles. Mine's storyteller-ish, you know. I if you listen to all the songs I ever wrote, they make sense, you know. They got like a beginning, a middle, and an end, you know. And my producer actually told me, he goes, man, 3-verse songs are dead, you know. They're a thing of the past. And most of my songs are 3-verse songs because it takes 3 little chapters to tell a story, you know. And so that's my writing style, but a lot of people have different ways to go about it.
So what's the style now if the 3-verse writing styles are gone?
So if you listen, there's a lot of 2 verses and a bridge. And so a bridge is practically a 3rd verse, but it's just like one sentence that leads you into the opportunity to sing the chorus again. And even then, a lot of people will make the chorus, you know, which it always has been. The chorus has always been the focal point of a song. But they'll start with the chorus and then give you a verse, chorus, verse, chorus. So you only need 2 verses because they'd rather you hear the chorus. I guess 2 examples of that would be like Last Night by Morgan Wallen is a pretty good example of not having a whole lot of like versus Guts. It's a lot of chorus. And then Need a Favor by Jelly Roll is a lot of the same as well. There's more chorus in that song than there is verses. But those kind of styles are what's kind of taken over music in general, period. Whereas you'll find like storytellers with Tyler Childers and Zach Bryan, they don't really have choruses at all. It's kind of like, it's like them boys wrote down or took a page out of their journal, and said, I'm going to write a song with today's events, and they literally make a song. And that's a whole nother style, and then, but a lot of old 90s country and stuff like that was wrote on the context of like what I do with like telling a story,
Why is the 3-verse song dead? Is it just because of the attention span of people? They just like the catchy kind of tune and last night we let the liquor talk all over again?
Yeah, I guess I was a politician right there. I didn't answer your question. I just walked around it. Yeah, I think that's what it is. TikTok has killed the need to listen to an entire song. People want 30 seconds of what they want to hear. And if they don't hear that at the beginning of the song or for the majority of the song, then the song ain't worth listening to. And that's kind of where the music industry, I from a third perspective, outsider looking in, because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not much of a musician. I've only been at this for about 7-8 months, like actually trying to pursue it, and know more about it. But as an outsider looking in, that's kind of where I see where it's at right now, and I guess how I'm trying to attack it strategically is somebody trying to kind of break into it. That's what I see.
What's a song by Jamie Johnston in color? Should have seen it in color.
In color,
yep. That's a story song, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It is.
I think it's one of the best songs ever.
It is, and that's the thing. Like songs like that never die. That's what they created. I'm trying to think of maybe some other ones that'll never die because the story behind it's so powerful.
Tennessee Whiskey.
Yeah, that's not a strong story.
Tennessee Whiskey. Yep, that's a good one too.
That is Chris Stapleton's now.
Yeah, that's one of the few songs out there that the remake is a whole lot better than the original. And Chris Stapleton done that. Yep. Guns N' Roses did it with what was it? Something about living.
Sweet Child of Mine.
No, that was their
My
song.
Michelle.
No, that's a great song too. Live and Let Die.
Oh,
they redone that. And that was a Beatles song, and Guns N' Roses done it a whole lot better.
Really?
Yeah. There's another one too. Man, it was just on the tip of my tongue. Where'd it go? Traveling Soldier.
Yeah,
that's another one. That's another song that'll never die. It's a great story. And that's the thing. Like storytelling songs, last a lifetime. These songs that just get your attention right now are the ones that kind of they were popular now and they go to die later.
Right.
You'll never hear them again, really. You might listen to them once in the next 10 years after they're done being popular, but the storytelling songs are the ones that live forever because you'll never take away that relatability, no matter how many generations we get removed from a legit story that people live.
Me and Andy have a debate on here, and we haven't had it in a long time. Andy loves Garth Brooks. I don't like Garth Brooks. I like George Strait.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You're going to tell me with a straight face that you would rather listen to a George Strait song than Callin' Baton Rouge?
Yes. But it would be really hard to find that one song because that's the one song. That's the one song of Garth Brooks's that I really like. That's on that and The Dance are the only two really Garth Brooks songs that I really like, and I don't want to listen to The Dance because it's a sad song.
That registered on the Richter scale when he performed that at Death Valley in LSU at LSU.
That's a hell of a song.
Packed LSU stadium to the brim, 100,000 plus. Comes out Callin' Baton Rouge, and the fucking crowd goes crazy, and it registers on the Richter scale as an earthquake.
Did you see what else happened after that? They started fucking chatting, get the fuck off Garth and bring on George, because they wanted to hear George Strait after that.
I have friends that have gone to see Garth Brooks in the last 5 years, and they said his show is phenomenal. Well, like, he only plays the hits, which you should do. Don't play any new music. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear Callin' Baton Rouge. I want to hear The Dance. I want to hear.
Name 7 of them.
I want to hear Much Too Young to Feel This Damn Old. I listened to that the other day. I almost cried.
That's 3. Give me 4 more.
I almost cried.
Give me 4 more Garth Brooks hits that you just can't live without.
Give me 2 Pina Coladas.
That's a Jimmy Buffett song.
Is it?
You guys are missing a big one. A huge one. There's
hold on. Give me a minute.
Shameless.
I wasn't expecting to talk about Garth Brooks.
Or Friends in Low Places.
Standing outside the fire.
That's it. Friends in Low Places.
With the little Downey kid, running around. That was a good one. Really tugs on the heartstrings. Change.
I thought Mark Chestnut. I thought we had this conversation. Didn't Mark Chestnut do Friends in Low Places? Didn't he write that song?
To be honest with you, you're going to test
I think Mark Chestnut wrote that.
He probably did.
He did sing. He did sing it. I'm not a Garth. I like George Strait. I like his music. He's timeless, and that's all he plays is the hits. It just takes him a long concert because he's had 70 #1 hits.
This was not 2 Pina Coladas. Is all Garth.
It is. I thought it was Jimmy Buffett.
Nope.
Well, Jimmy would have sung it better.
I bet Jimmy's probably sung it. That's his vibe.
Yeah, that's why I figured it was his. But I'm not a Garth fan. Okay, now my next music question.
You don't have to be, but you're fucking lying is what you're doing.
What am I lying
about? You're
about?
lying to everybody that's listening.
About what?
Saying that George Strait is better artist than Garth Brooks. You're lying, and that's fine.
No, I'm not lying. I think, in my opinion, I would rather listen to George Strait than fucking Garth Brooks.
If you were a Martian that did not know anything about how, that's the thing about Garth Brooks.
Well,
hold on.
I can't trash Garth anymore anyways. I'm supposed to kind of way off that for a little bit.
So, Garth just has the balls to tell you how he's thinking.
He ain't got no balls at all.
George Strait is smart enough to not tell you that.
Yeah, whatever. So, anyways, we have another debate we have all the time. And I hate to call out Andy's stupidity in its Texas Tech education, but he thinks that Prince is a better guitar player than fucking Eddie Van Halen. And there is no way in hell.
Oh man, I was waiting for who you were going to use as comparison, but when you said, the minute I heard you say Eddie, it was like, no, yeah, Van Halen's like the king of guitar playing.
Do we need to go anywhere else, Andy, on that one?
I'm sorry, Andy. I apologize. I grew up, man, on Van Halen.
Now, Prince was a stud. I love Prince also. I don't have nothing against Prince at all.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like our debate against Leonard Skinner and CCR. I like Leonard Skinner better than CCR, but they were both very good. I would rather listen to them than fucking Garth Brooks.
Andy's regretting asking me to come on.
Man,
we have these debates all the time. That's what makes us so good.
That Summer by Garth Brooks. I'm looking at that's a fucking.
It's about some fucking woman, some MILF banging some fucking kid working for her on the farm.
You can't write that today now.
No, well you could.
With those roles, but if it's an old man porking the help, teenage help. You can't write that song.
That would make a rap song nowadays.
Jeff, they're all much too young to feel this.
You guys, hold on. There is one guy in the country music industry that just says what he wants to say. You ever heard of Wheeler Walker Jr.?
Yes, yeah. I like him.
What about David Allan Coe?
He's got the dirty stuff. Edgar Allan.
David Allan Coe.
David Allan Coe. Oh, yeah. Yeah, David Allan Coe is like the OG of Say What
I can't believe he's still alive. I'm telling you, I'm 55 years old. When I was 10 years old, that fucker was over the hill. He was old. And
that's like Willie Nelson.
Yeah, Willie's going to live to be 100. I am. Everybody that listens to this knows I am not a smoker of any kind in my life. I've never smoked pot, never smoked marijuana. But there's something to say for Willie Nelson. Willie Nelson and Sammy Hagar. If you ever seen a picture of Sammy Hagar next to Bill Clinton, Sammy Hagar's banging hot chicks. Bill Clinton's either on Epstein Island or he's fucking with Hillary. He looks horrible. Fucking Sammy still looks like he can go rip a guitar. So,
yeah.
We had a funeral to go to today, and they played a Willie song.
They did,
and he's not gifted musically.
He's a terrible singer.
I was listening to that song, and it's just like he's kind of all over the place, and you're like, ooh. But it's a classic.
Mm-hmm. He just had good friends with Waylon Jennings and Hank Williams and them guys. He just brought the weed.
Yeah, right.
So he was automatically
That's another one of my guilty pleasures to listen to, the Highwaymen.
Oh, what a great group. And Willie is not the worst singer in that group. Chris Christopherson is. Chris Christopherson is terrible.
Them boys, we talk about storytelling. Them boys are just the king of storytelling. They'd sit around and literally just start writing songs based off of what was going on, like and it sold, and they did a really good job of just selling it. They did so good.
I'm not a big TikToker, but for some reason the other night someone sent me a video and it was a TikTok video. Then you get on TikTok and you push them through, and one of the videos come up was Hank Jr. Bocephus come out probably about 76 to 78, and he sang Family Tradition right when it come out. And I'm gonna tell you what made my fucking hair stand up, because when I was a kid I listened to Hank Jr. but never saw him on video or anything, but it showed him. He was a young man playing that stuff, and he was a very talented, Bocephus was really good, but that whole group of guys, Waylon Jennings was probably the most talented of all them. I mean, he's lucky that he wasn't on Buddy Holly's plane. He gave up his seat to Buddy Holly, and he lived. But what a great musician Waylon Jennings was.
Oh yeah. I've been trying to get way more blues down, and that last verse is kind of challenging for me. It's a lot of words packed into a really short amount of time, but that's a fun.
Have you seen the video of Conway Twitty's grandson and Loretta Lynn's granddaughter singing Mississippi Man, Louisiana Woman? It's a very, very good. And that was a good riff anyways. That's a real good song. But anyways, they sing it, and he sounds just like his grandpa, and she sounds just like her grandma.
Conway Twitty. I remember like all the Family Guy episodes saying, anyways, here's Conway Twitty. That's how I remember Conway Twitty. Which is terrible, but
he's been dead for 40 years.
Stuck in my head. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of them have been gone. Well, honestly, I was looking that up the other day, and I was trying to like figure out when all these guys passed away and who's still alive. And so what was it? Keith Whitley passed away, and was that the 80s?
Yeah, he died in the 80s.
He's been gone. He's been gone the longest, and then Waylon Jennings passed away in like 2002 or something like that. But here's Willie still alive because he's putting something in the weed, and then Hank Williams Jr. is still alive, but he was the youngest one of that bunch. You look back when them guys were, probably sitting on the couch. He was 10 years old, and so he's definitely a young pup when you think about all them guys.
David Allan Coe was not accepted into their group, and it bothered him a lot because he always wanted to be one of the outlaws with them, and he wasn't. But
he's a liability. Let's not. I mean,
I don't blame them at all.
That's so true.
He was running with motorcycle gangs and shit. But
he's a loose cannon, man.
But very talented.
Oh yeah.
His song "Boston" is a great song.
David Allan Coe.
Mm-hmm. He's got a great. Jody Like a Melody is a great song. He was very, very, very talented, but he just fuck.
Loose cannon.
He looks like an old wrestler. You get those old wrestlers that come back and wrestle at 60 years old, and they're all flabby looking and shit.
Yeah.
That motherfucker's got his old makeup on and it running, and his earrings. His earrings are hanging down to his nipples now because his lobes have been stretched so much. He looks like shit.
Might as well just get nipple rings.
How did Hank Sr. die?
Drinking or car wreck, I think maybe.
Well, because
I think it was a car wreck.
There's a song that says, "Ask Hank why he took those pills back in
63."
Back in 63. Then another song. Well, it's a Morgan Wallen song. Codeine, it got Elvis. Whiskey, it got Hank.
Well, I think he died in a car. Look it up. You got a computer right in front of you. I think he died.
Yeah,
you do have a right there. I think he died in a car wreck, but it might have been an overdose, and he might have Janis Joplin.
Yeah. I know a lot of people ask for like Keith Whitley now because Morgan Wallen sang a song about him, or sang one of his songs.
He sang a song about Keith.
He sang a song about Keith Whitley. I don't not like Morgan Wallen music, but I'm not like a Swiftie to Morgan Wallen where I listen to every song like over and over again. So I don't. Honestly, there's so many songs of his I haven't even listened to.
I like Morgan Wallen, but I'm a little tired of Morgan Wallen, if that makes sense. Like I've heard last night too many times.
I'm very curious when he's gonna phase out. He'll never go away.
Right.
But I remember when Florida Georgia Line was like the best thing since sliced bread, and now where are those guys, and so
the best song Morgan Wallen has, in my opinion, and I know a lot of people listen to Morgan Wallen and love Morgan Wallen, and I like his music also, but I don't want to hear Last Night ever again in my life probably, is fuck. Now I'm gonna have to look it up because I can't. My memory has gone to shit since starting this. It's a remake. I do know that. Fuck, I knock it. Cover Me Up. Yeah, Cover Me Up.
Yeah, Jason Isabel wrote that song.
Yeah, that's my favorite. That's my
Jason
favorite
Isbell,
Morgan
like-
Wallen song, and it's not even his.
Hank Williams died.
It's not even his.
Hank Williams Sr. died in the back of a car driving from Bristol, Tennessee to Montgomery, Alabama.
What did he? I mean, he
He had
to take
been
something,
sick,
right?
and they'd been giving him medicine, and the doctor gave him some morphine with something in it. And the guy that was driving him, some college kid, they hired a driver in Bristol, Tennessee to drive him. The guy got in the car, and they drove about 3 or 4 hours, and they realized Hank was kind of quiet in the back, and he already had rigor mortis set in.
Whew.
Oh, no.
Anyways, he died in 53, I think. So it wasn't 63, it's 53.
53.
So I don't know if he died of
53.
overdose. I'm sure that there were some things put into his system that was not just water and orange juice.
You think so?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I think in modern day, who was that? Was that Prince? Or I think it was Prince and Michael Jackson, wasn't it?
Yeah, they had fentanyl.
Yeah. So Prince actually made like an emergency landing in the Quad Cities, which is the general area where I grew up. I think it was a couple weeks or a couple months. Don't quote me on that. Before he actually like OD'd or whatever happened, But he had something going on, and they were just so happened to be over Moline Airport, and they landed in and took care of him. That was like huge local news.
I'm reading more about Hank Sr. He performed an autopsy. He found hemorrhages in the heart and neck and pronounced the cause of death as acute right ventricle dilation. He also noted that Williams had been severely beaten and kicked in the groin several times during a recent bar fight in Montgomery a few days earlier.
And some swollen balls.
I mean, he's up there to play a fucking concert, and he has to fight his way out of the damn place.
Well,
That's probably why I had to get the pills in the first place.
Probably so.
it was different back then, though, because those guys, if you watch in their TV shows, but there's a documentary called Sun Records. It's about Elvis Presley and Johnny Cash and Jimmy Swaggart and Jerry Lee Lewis. And it's really an interesting deal, but you see the life. Those guys, even though they were stars, they were still right in the middle of everybody. They didn't have all the bodyguards and all that kind of shit they have today.
They're rugged.
It was a tough game. I mean, they played bars, and they got fucking beer bottles thrown at them on stage and get you booed off if they didn't like you. It was a different world.
It's like Roadhouse.
Right.
With that fucking Sam Elliott.
Let me find this because it's pretty interesting. There's a 1888 cough syrup back in the 1800s contained this is the ingredient list: alcohol, cannabis, chloroform, morphine.
Chloroform too? Knock your ass out, make you not hurt, and
You go to sleep. Bear would success.
I think today you got to have glaucoma to get that.
Bear would successfully synthesize both aspirin and heroin. Heroin was based on German word Heroshitz, which meant heroic.
I wonder if that shit worked.
Well, fuck, how could it not, Jeff?
Well, you would expect it would, but
Chloroform,
Yeah, it may not have
cannabis,
healed you, but it
and
definitely
alcohol.
took the pain away.
And morphine.
it wasn't long ago they had some little pills you could take when you got coughs real bad and it would paralyze your throat, and they took them off the market, and those were excellent. I mean, they would just dissolve in your throat, and it would paralyze your throat where it wouldn't scratch and itch, and you could sleep. There's nothing worse than a real bad cold. I mean, when you cough all fucking night.
I'll tell you right now, I know one thing that might be worse than a real bad cold, and it's this freaking pink eye, dude. You can't quite tell right now. It's starting to clear up really good, but
good.
I got a viral infection in my eyeball, and I finally went to the doctor because it was just excruciating. And he's like, "Oh yeah, this is like a 4-week long thing, so pony up." And I'm like, "Oh my god, it's miserable, man.
4
It's
weeks
terrible."
of pink eye?
But pink eye was going around here too just recently in town.
Was it?
All the little kids were getting it. I'm surprised your boys didn't get it. When you get old and you don't have no kids in the house, you're not susceptible to all that shit. How'd you get pink eye?
So yeah, that's where I'm at. So I said, "How did I get pink eye?" He goes, "It's not." He says, "It's not pink eye." He says, "Pink eye is a bacterial infection." He goes, "There's 36 strains of a viral eye infection that you can get, and you got one of them." And he says, "So you got it from somebody, and so I don't know how, and so I'm
A
assuming
handshake.
it's from shaking all these hands
Yeah.
and being all these places and playing all these shows, and you just don't know what you're touching and who touched what last. But he said it usually takes 2 weeks before you even see symptoms, so you have it before you have it, and there's really nothing you can do about it unless you're just so happen to be scheduled to go to the eye doctor within that 2 week period that you don't know you have it. But God, it's terrible. Like right now, I'm like, I can see you clear in this eye, but this eye is like super blurry. It's terrible.
The vision will clear up once pink eye goes away, I guess? Like it's just swollen?
Yeah, they said it'll clear up. He says right now, and I don't know, I'm not an eye doctor, I guess, but he says it's like I don't know. I think of like this is a terrible analogy, but I think of like a worm like going into a hole or something. He says they've like attacked your cornea or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, so they're like there, so now they have to, your white blood cells have to, kill it off, and then eventually it'll go away. So why I can't see is because I'm trying to look through all these white blood cells and all these little viral things in my eye.
Oh, that makes sense.
But yeah, it's a
I've
mess.
had a sty a couple times. I don't think I've ever had pink eye.
I had pink eye when I was little a couple times, but nothing.
Styes suck.
Herpes simplex 4.
So I couldn't imagine pink eye.
Dyes are terrible too. I've had one of those once. Those are miserable too.
How hard
But,
is it to
yeah.
find a music producer now? Or are they kind of everywhere?
Honestly, I think they're everywhere. For me, not knowing what the heck I'm doing, though, it was a little challenging for me. I had a buddy in Nashville I actually met through social media, and he knew a bunch of people in the industry, and so he started asking, who's the best producers down here that you've used, and kind of settled on one guy, and went down there and recorded with him. His name's Ben Reno. And so he's got a studio down there in Franklin, Tennessee. And so it was like a 2-day process, but nonetheless, there's tons of them to choose from, especially in that Nashville network. Now, good or bad or indifferent, I couldn't tell you who's good and who's bad, but I know just here in Illinois, there's a handful of them too that are doing it, and there's people that even go as far as trying to figure it out and do it themselves. But just like you with your new mixer, man, that's an art. It's definitely hard to get that mixing, mastering, meshing. Not for me. I just assume pay somebody to do it.
Yeah. So what all did you send him? Like you sent him the lyrics to your song and then like, hey, I need other shit to this, like let's produce this, or how do you even get the ball rolling?
Yeah, so I'm terrible. I started to take this stuff for granted, even though I've had to literally ask these same questions. So in other words, I have these songs, right? And so then you just kind of put a voice memo together, you playing and singing into a phone or whatever you want to do. And then you kind of send it over to him. And then now he has them on file. And from there, you pretty much just set a date of when you want to do the band tracking, when you want to do the vocal tracking, stuff like that. And so we pushed it back, I think, 2 times. And I was kind of mad about the second one because we were going to be recording all these songs just before Jelly Roll was coming in to record some of his songs. So I was like, man, I might get the chance to meet Jelly Roll. But, we had to push it back to the next week. So, yeah, you kind of recorded it, and I literally recorded it sitting right here in my phone, sent him kind of the rough drafts. Then we locked in a studio date to record with the band in one studio. And then we went to his place the next day, and he had a vocal studio, and we recorded vocals at his place.
And then he finds the band?
Yeah, so he's well networked in Nashville, and so he's got what they call studio musicians, and that's like an award thing too down there in like what do they call it, the CMAs and stuff like that, whatever, all them country music awards. They give out awards like in the intermissions and stuff like that for like studio players and stuff. And so he's got direct lines of contact with these guys, and some of them are producers as well. So he gets them all lined up. And actually a couple guys in there One of them had played, the bass player on the songs that I got recorded, played on, he actually played on some of Willie's stuff and Dan and Shay's stuff, but more commonly known right now, he played on Between a Rock and a Hard Place, Bailey Zimmerman, and Religiously for Bailey Zimmerman. So he's got some pretty good, resume, bulletins there. And then the guy who played all the utilities, like the acoustic guitars and stuff, he actually travels with Luke Grimes, which is better known as Casey off of Yellowstone. And so he played on those songs. But those are just two examples. There was a four-man team, I guess. But, the producer lined all them up. Now, that doesn't mean you have to use his people. You can use your own people, bring your own people in, and do it however you want. I know people that bring their own bands and do it too, but there's definitely a lot of moving pieces.
Yeah. How much creative control did you have over the music, or did you kind of like realize, hey, these guys might be better at it than what I could come up with?
That's exactly the approach I had. I'd never done it before. I think now, for one, we were in a huge time constraint. We had 2 days with an emergency third day to get this all done. And we did 5 songs. I wanted to get an EP put together with very similar sound, like all tracked in one day, so it didn't sound different, So we were time constraint and also a knowledge constraint. I didn't really know what the heck I was doing. So I did just that. I said, y'all are the experts. You do this every day. You just take this and run with it, and then from there he'll send me like rough copies, and then I'll, have some revisions where he can tweak them. But I think now, knowing more now, going in, I wouldn't be as afraid to say, hey, instead of maybe playing it this way, let's try and play it that way, But I was very unclear how this all worked the first time around, but good learning experience. I think everything turned out pretty good. Obviously, if you guys like God Bless Gun Dogs, it couldn't have been that bad.
No,
right?
yeah,
Very good song.
Yeah, I really liked it. It's just interesting, like, because you get all these guys in there, and I mean, I don't know how much experience you have, like, musically. So, like, you hear it and you're like, yeah, that's good. Like, I wouldn't know what to change. Like, oh no, we need more bass. Like, I don't fucking know. You're the expert.
Dude, that's the producer too. He was sitting there and he's like into it, man. He's a really like animated, outgoing, just a really what do you want to say, bright personality.
Yeah.
And so he's sitting there just listening to all these sounds, and I'm like, yeah, sounds like a song I'd listen to on the radio, And he goes, you hear that acoustic guitar in there?
Nope.
And then he pulls that acoustic guitar out of it all, and you just hear the acoustic. It's like, yeah, that sounds sick. But then he puts it back in, and I'm like,
where'd it
nope,
go?
I can't hear it at all. So, it's a blessing and a curse to have that many chiefs,
Right.
in a place like that. You get the best of every world you could ask for. But on the same token, you might jeopardize the originalness that you want of it, So you gotta be prepared, and you gotta stand your ground. You gotta say, hey, I want to sound like me and not somebody else. But definitely take advantage of the creativeness of them guys, because it's crazy what they can turn something into.
What's cool about music too is, like, recently we've noticed something I don't think it's ever happened before, but what's the guy's name that sings Rich Men of Richmond at Anthony?
Anthony Oliver.
Oliver Anthony. I don't know if in our history we've ever had someone come out of the fucking Appalachian Mountains from singing in his backyard to the #1 song in the world in 3 days.
Yeah, I don't think not that fast. No.
And I don't know his story.
Tyler Childers came out of the Appalachians, but I don't think he did it.
No, I mean, there's been a lot of people come out of the Appalachians. I'm just talking about this guy was just a redneck singing a song that somebody recorded in the backyard to the #1 song in America that fast. And that.
Yeah, he actually, I'm going to take this to my grave with me, because I did a live one night. I actually got banned that night on TikTok Live, because apparently you can't have a Barrett 50 cal and a saw and an AK-47 and all these really cool guns on your lives on TikTok. So nonetheless, I got banned from not only my lives, but TikTok period for a week. I couldn't even log in. It was ridiculous. And but the highlight of that night was Oliver Anthony actually came into my live, and I got to play his song for him, and he actually followed me on TikTok.
That's badass.
So that was pretty cool. It was really neat to have him in there because that was right about the time he was like taking off, you know.
Do you think we'll know who? Do you think 5 years from now anybody will know who he is?
I think so. You talk about, you brought up that song In Color, by Jamie Johnson, which he and Jamie kind of played together there for a short step. That's not why I'm putting them songs in correlation together, but In Color will never die. That song's going to live forever, even past our days. I think there's just so much truth behind that song and what it represents. I think the exact same thing goes with Oliver Anthony's song. The rest of his songs may dwindle out, but that's a song that'll probably never die. It'll always be played. It'll always be recognized. It'll never be forgotten.
It's a powerful song. And the first time when it first came out, I had a guy message me and he's like, "Hey, y'all got to get this guy on the podcast." And I listened to the song. I listened to it and I thought it's pretty good. And then it was, I bet I had 50 people message me within the next day or two. You got to get this guy on. This guy, get this guy. Well, once he got on Joe Rogan, we knew we'd never have him on here with us. That was the end of our deal. But I listened to some more of his music. I'm not knocking the guy. He may have 50 number one hits. He may be better than King George one day. But I listened to the rest of his music, and I think that is his one song he had. And I haven't listened to anything else of his that really impressed me that much. But that one song is amazing. And I'm like you. I think it's a timeless song because it tells a story, and it's true. Everything he says in that song is the damn truth that we're sick of. But what an amazing story. And in the history of music, I don't know that there's anybody come out of nowhere and went as big with one song.
No, no, not that quick, that fast. Bailey Zimmerman would probably be your closest thing to, say somebody that made the rise that quick. He released a song, and then by the time he released his second and third song, he was boom, on tour with Morgan Wallen, but within a 2-year span. So yeah, you talk 2 years, that seems crazy, but yeah, 3 days, that's just ridiculous. And I have my own conspiracies on that. I think if you look into it, he released a bit of that song.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Him playing on a fence row in the middle of the woods about 12 days before it actually was released. And I think somebody, and this isn't discredited at all, I think somebody came across that and said, "Hey, we got something here. This guy's talented. He's got a very humble personality. And he's from the location that we can really run with this kind of persona." And they got in contact with him and said, "Hey man, we want to take you to the next level. Will you let us do it? Let's get this recorded." And this is all just thoughts. I don't know if that's true, but it's amazing what something can do when the right person gets a hold of it. And he talks to that too. He said the day before he released that song, he did a little interview in his truck, and he said I've been hinted towards that this song's probably going to take off. And so I can't help but think there was some gear back there that was working,
right?
Getting this thing to do what it did. But
I think he had, because that's another one of those TikTok songs, right? Like it was just the chorus or whatever.
It started there. Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know. That whole thing's kind of weird to me.
Well, there's two stories that you can go by. You can go by the mob being running. There's a guy, and the name is going to escape me right now, but he was a rock and roll musician in the '60s, and he was a local guy in a neighborhood in Brooklyn or somewhere. And the Gambino or one of the Italian mob families, they bought a music studio and they made him play their music, or they made him they bought his contract, and he went in there and played his music. The problem was or not a problem, they owned a bunch of radio stations everywhere. So they played their music from their artist, and it made him be on the top 10 charts. So they could control that. Well, that didn't happen with Oliver Anthony or whatever his name is, but that was one way to do it. A second deal is there's just bands that come out of nowhere that get the one break. Alabama, they went from a nobody in 1978, 79 to the number one band in country music for 10 years. And they were nobodies because there was a dive bar in Wichita Falls that had booked them when they first come out. And they tried to buy their way out of their contract, and they made them play there. And they had already won Grammys and everything else. And they had to play in this little fucking bar that held 300 people, and those people would not let them out. So he got a break. I don't know if there's anything behind the scenes to it, but that song is an amazing song, and his voice is amazing. And but I don't know if he'll ever do anything else again, but he's going to be a wealthy, wealthy man. I guess. What kind of money is he making right now?
I think he turned all of it down.
Well, he's a fool then.
Well, they turned down an $8 million. Well, honestly, I think if you think about it, if he would have signed an $8 million contract and signed everything over to a label, now the label assumes control. And so, that's something I've learned about the music industry too, because you gotta register all these songs. If you want to get paid for this, you got to get all these songs registered through a thing called ASCAP, or there's a couple other ones, but I use ASCAP. And so the writer gets 50% of the share. The publisher gets 50% of the share. So if you're the singer, songwriter, publisher, the whole thing, you get the whole kit and caboodle. But when you sign over, I can't remember which one it is, but when you sign on a label, with a record deal, you sign over one of those percentages, if not both. And now they assume control of how that's distributed. Right. And so in which case, you as a songwriter, the performer, the artist, you're going to get a portion of 50% of that, but you pretty much lost probably 60 or 70 of it. And you lost the control of it. And so somebody, they could shove it in a drawer, put it away, and never let it come out again. And so I think he recognized that he wouldn't have the control of it. And so he kind of that's why he turned it down. It was too soon. He wanted to make sure that it didn't just get shoved away, and taken out of his hands.
Yeah, because if somebody that doesn't, subscribe to that way of political thinking, they could just buy it and I got it.
He should have taken $8 million.
He's more about
never looked back.
Yeah, he should have, because I don't know that he'll ever make $8 million unless he's got another couple of songs coming out.
This is saying right here that he's making $1 to $2 million from his YouTube channel alone.
Well, then don't take the $8 million then.
Let's walk into that, right?
Yeah.
So he's booking, I think, shows for like $120,000, something like that. He's booking a show for $120,000.
Yeah.
So I mean, if he books 10 of those, there's $1.2 million, and I'm pretty sure he's booked more than 10. And then on top of that, about every stream, a Spotify stream's worth about 0.4 of a penny. Every other stream out there's worth about a penny. So if you look at his songs, I mean, if he's got 100 million streams on Spotify already, then he's got, what does that come out to be? Is that 400? No. What does that? Do the math for me, Sydney.
40.
Was it 4? So he gets half a penny for every stream?
0.4 of a penny.
Half a penny for every stream,
basically.
Yep.
And he's got 100 million streams?
Quickly.
That's be $1 million or $500,000. I can't do the math that much because there's too many zeros. I'm getting old.
What do you got? $2 million is what he's made already on just Spotify, the streams. Right. So he's making money. But he may not made $8 million up front, but he's making money.
He ain't hurting.
The crazy thing is those don't pay out until the next quarter. You only get paid quarterly.
Right.
Well, he can go to bank and borrow money, I guess, if he needs some money.
I wrote Richmond. I wrote Richmond north of Richmond.
Yeah, call me up, buddy. We'll give you a good interest rate.
Yeah, can I get a per diem? That'd be nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Go to a loan shark. Yeah, that'd be the best way to do it.
But I don't know that we'll ever hear of him having another hit again. But that song he has is timeless. I mean, just like in the old days. But what's happened now is YouTube is replacing the radio or these streaming deals, because a long time ago, if you got on the radio, you got a penny or a half a penny every time your song got played on the radio station. Yep. And now you're getting it off YouTube.
I'll say this much though. I mean, Spotify's king. People use Spotify like crazy. I just checked the stat today. We're at like, on God Bless Gun Dogs, we're at like 7,700 streams on Spotify, and that's 1 day shy. I don't get the report for the day before until the next day. So it's like it'll be like 8,000 streams in 2 weeks, and I think Apple Music's like half of that. So, but believe it or not, in the music industry, they still see radio is king. There's people that don't really care about streams necessarily. They want to get on them, what do they call them, mixes or spins. and get on the radio. Because if you're on the radio, it's a guaranteed play 2 or 3 times a day. And if you get across 2,000 radio stations, you're guaranteed to be played 6,000 times every day. And then people are going to go from radio to a streaming platform and listen to you again if they want to hear you again. So people talk about radio still being king. It's just we don't necessarily see it that way, but it's still very much alive.
So y'all get half a penny for every stream on Spotify. I wish they'd pay us that freaking much. Podcasts are like,
how's the podcast?
It's you're a bastard.
Yeah,
Unless you're Joe Rogan.
You don't get anything for streams.
Don't get nothing.
No, and we've got a big bunch downloads every year, and we still don't. I mean, they don't pay us. Our sponsors pay us, but we don't get nothing from Spotify.
Well,
they don't charge us to host us no more.
Hey, but you guys are sponsored by Ducks Unlimited, so I mean.
Oh, we've got. I'm not complaining. We've got a lot of good sponsors.
Sure sounds like you're bitching.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if I'm looking at 8 million downloads in a year at half a penny, that's better change than nothing.
That's good money.
Well, we don't do. They don't give us that though. That's what I'm saying.
Man, that's weird. Yeah, that would be great money.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know why they don't do that with podcasts. That don't make sense.
Okay, so here's the deal. Here's what you can do. You can record a 30-second track, and you can have it play on repeat and 24 hours a day, and you can make $1,200 a month.
Yeah.
I can't sing.
You only have to play 30 seconds to count as a stream.
Right.
I can't sing, so it wouldn't do me no good.
It could be, well, I mean,
Well,
no. You can do it off of your phone.
I can't sing.
Jeff, you're missing the point.
I know. I see what you're saying. You just play your own music. You're the only one that's listening.
You're the
to
only
it.
motherfucker that's listening to it. Go buy a burner phone. You're gonna be $1,500 in the hole, so you're working the first month for free. Have that bitch just playing on repeat 24 hours a day.
Fuck that. I'm gonna buy me 10 phones.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. And get you 10 different accounts.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. They recognize that, so you might still get paid, but that's the only things that are gonna ever stream your music ever.
Shit.
They're
smart.
They pick up on them robots.
Damn it.
Oh, there's your foolproof phone. Everybody out there was like, motherfucker, did you hear that?
they were buying mixers and they had.
Yeah, everybody's out there doing it. Heck, man, I can make $1,200 a month.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
Can I?
You could go on there and go on a mini rant about how we don't we're tired of seeing the Taylor Swift and the Travis Kelce on there for 30 seconds. That's all you got to do, and upload it as a song, and then just put it on repeat.
Well, a lot of people agree with me on that. They've gotten a lot of backlash off that. The NFL and all the ESPN and everybody has
over a fake arranged marriage or relationship.
I'm starting to buy that to you. God dang it, fucking Washington, play some fucking defense.
Oh, you guys watching football right
Justin
now?
Fields just threw a fucking touchdown to DJ Moore.
To DJ Moore,
Yep.
he's on my fantasy
He's had
team.
He's probably got 2 catches for 50 yards already and a touchdown.
I started Sam Howell tonight, so we're going to see how this goes.
Me
It's either
too.
Sam Howell or Daniel Jones as my second quarterback.
So here's
not good.
Here's some music advice from someone that don't know shit about the music deal. Cut you a Christmas song and cut you a song about Donald Trump for the next year, a positive Donald Trump song. You get 81 million people download that motherfucker just because they like Donald Trump. As a catchy Donald Trump song and a Christmas song. And in April or May, you need to have a song about kids graduating high school, a sad song, and they'll play it at every fucking graduation in the world.
Like Vitamin C.
Yeah.
You're probably right. You know what's funny? You're not the first one to tell me about like the election year concept.
Yes.
I guess. Have you guys ever heard of Don Higgins? I don't know if you've heard that name.
I feel like I've heard that name before.
I have not.
Whitetail hunter, big whitetail hunter. If you guys look into the whitetail world, that deer actually right there was off of his farm. That's Sydney's deer. That's Sydney's uncle. But he told me the same thing. He's like, the minute after like Oliver Anthony's song, like the day after, he sends me a text message and he says, "You need to write a song like this song and how DC is so corrupt and you need to make it's an election year. Keep that in mind." And I was like, "You're very right, but I can't do it right now because I'd just be seen as somebody trying to ride up the coattails of this guy, But I don't know about Christmas, man. I can't compete with Blake Shelton and Mariah
Yeah,
Carey.
but you can come up with a new song. What is Mariah Carey's song that she sings? She makes $8 million a year something off of it every single fucking year.
I should write a song about how we celebrate Christmas too early. We start on November 1st when really we should be deer hunting and duck.
There you go.
I went in the grocery store with my wife the other day, and they had fucking Christmas shit all over the store.
Yeah.
In a grocery store.
I hate that.
I was like, what the hell? Why don't we just throw
Went to Walmart last night. There's like all the Christmas stuff's out. It's like, we got Halloween and Thanksgiving to go yet. What are you
put
doing?
up the fucking Valentine shit and Easter stuff now, I guess, too.
And my favorite holiday is Halloween, and everybody rushes through it. I go into these stores and it's Christmas shit, and it's like, motherfucker, just let me have my moment. You got plenty of time for your Christmas bullshit.
Andy.
God, I want freaking pumpkin-shaped Reese's to last
Christmas
forever.
bullshit.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
You Christmas bullshit. You're an elder at your church. You shouldn't say that.
Listen to me. Don't get me started on the Christmas, on all that horse shit. It is not at all what it is supposed to be.
I would agree with you on that.
Okay, so
I think what we should do is skip the gift giving.
So don't come at me for saying that, because it is so far it is so commercialized and shallow, and no.
So you're not going to participate in any of that this year?
I'll participate.
Okay.
I'm a participant. I'll take all the gifts. But don't come at me like, oh, I can't believe you said that about Christmas. What are you talking about? It's totally commercialized.
Well, so is Halloween.
And all I need is socks and underwear. You give me socks and underwear, I'm set.
That's the only time in the year that I get them. So like if they skip a year, it starts getting bad. You gotta say on that.
Do you really look to your mom to give you socks every year? Your stockings.
It's the only time I buy them. It's the only time I get them.
I literally have holes in my socks right now. The ones I'm wearing right now literally have holes in them. I mean, we're coming in close. We got about 2 months to go.
It gets scary quick.
We get there.
It gets scary quick.
Christmas is the biggest waste of money in the world. It makes. I love it. I love to see my grandkids happy. My grown ass kids like Andy, I don't give a shit if we buy them anything at all. I think we shouldn't just buy for grandkids.
Well, that's very tacky of you.
Well, it's the way it is. But it is so overdone on buying people shit. And I wish we would get away from all of that part of the buying gifts. I really do.
That's actually what our family does. We just kind of do like a Secret Santa thing.
Yeah.
Where we all just get a name and we buy everybody a gift, and we have like $1 limit on it. I can't remember what it is, but then we'll buy mom and dad always something nice, always do that. And then mom and dad will usually buy us all like one thing we could use in the house. But then the rest of it is grandkids. And if that's not how it goes, we go to vacation somewhere. Like we pick a place. Like I remember one year we went to Disney, for a weekend or whatever it was. And then we went to Nashville for a weekend, and it doesn't have to be around Christmas, but sometimes we'll just say, hey, this is Christmas. We're going here, and so, and then we do that. So we've found creative ways to get away from exactly what Jeff is preaching.
Yeah, I would much rather, we take a couple of trips anyways as a family, grandkids, kids, me, everybody, the whole family. I would be all for doing away with all Christmas except buy the grandkids some stuff, and then just go on an extra trip somewhere during the year. I would like that a lot more.
Yep. That's pretty much what we do, but then we're all really hard-headed and stubborn, so we still buy everybody like something, like mom and dad something, and mom and dad always buy us something, but it's not 20 presents under the tree, it's like, I don't know, what did mom and dad buy us one year? They bought us like the cheap version of a Roomba, they're like, here, last year I got a shop vac, it's like perfect, I need that.
I like the idea.
I wouldn't go buy it for myself.
I like the idea of kids that are at least 30 years old buying their parents gifts, but the parents not having to buy the kids gift if they're over 30. I think that's a really good way to move.
Yeah.
What do you think, Andy, on that?
And that's usually what
I gave you two.
That's usually the merit we go on. It's just like I said, we're also freaking stubborn that we end up buying everybody something anyways, But we don't go crazy like we used to, in our younger years.
Yeah.
But
it's a waste of money.
It is.
Well, listen, dude, you're a cool cat. What do you got coming up next? You got a couple. You got some concerts you're playing, I know, but any other big plans, or are you just kind of taking it day by day?
I mean, I'll correct you. I don't know if I'm cool. I guess I'll take a cat. That's kind of cool, I guess. But nonetheless, I got 5 shows in October. I've taken all of November off by choice, except for one day because I'm gonna be deer hunting and probably doing some duck hunting while I'm at it. And then December, I think I got 3 shows. January, we've got 1 scheduled so far. So we got a busy end of the year. But like I said, I've got 4 other songs I've recorded.
When will they be out?
I'm trying to figure out kind of when those are going to come out. I haven't really decided, but I don't want to compete with Mariah Carey, so I don't know if I'm going to drop anything before Christmas. But I definitely expect 1 or 2 between the New Year and summertime, and then we'll get the rest of them out probably next summer. So, yeah, we'll see where this goes, man. I don't know. I'm a go with the flow, fly by the seat of your pants kind of guy. So we'll see what happens.
Well, cool shit, man. We wish you all the best, and hopefully you see an uptick in your streaming after this. So
yeah, I appreciate that. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you having me and letting me come crash your evening and take away from your Thursday night football.
No.
Yeah, Andy, Jeff, it's been a real pleasure. Maybe if I get to Morgan Wallen status someday, we'll have to do this again.
How about we just do it again whenever you release your new song? How about that?
Hey, yeah, that sounds like a plan. Let's do it.
And tell people where they can look you up, your TikTok handle. Is it called a handle?
Fucking old guy.
Yeah. So, my name's Tyson Schulte. So it's spelled Tyson like the chicken, and then Schulte's SCHULTE. My TikTok handle is actually at Tyson.chicken. So it's I created that a long time ago. But yeah, if you look up Tyson Schulte or Tyson.chicken, you'll find me on TikTok. I've got a Facebook page. I've got Instagram. If you look up my name, Tyson Schulte, you'll be able to find it on all those things. On all the streaming platforms, Tyson Schulte, God Bless Gun Dogs. There's not another Tyson Schulte or another song called God Bless Gun Dogs. So you look up either one of those, you'll be able to find me that way too. So
cool deal, man. Well, take care of yourself, and we'll talk to you soon. How about that? Good luck this winter. Go shoot a big one.
Hey, thank you, and God bless you, my friend. Best of luck.
Sounds good. Hey, God bless
thank
you too. Yeah, appreciate you guys. Good luck to you this season too.
Interesting guy.
Tyson Schulte. We did not confirm his last name, so botched that one there.
What'd you say?
Schult.
And it's Schulte?
Schulte.
Well, you need to pay attention more.
Yeah, I do. I was going to see if I could play Old Man real quick because I got to go.
Where do you got to go to?
Reese has never been to a bonfire. We're having a bonfire tonight, and he really wants to go.
Then get out of here.
Hold on. I'm going to try to do this real quick.
Hey, will you do me a favor before you leave?
What?
Will you stream that football game in the other room for us?
I don't. Jeff, it starts in 28 minutes, and
don't let the old man in. I want to live me some more. Can't leave it up to him. He's knocking on my door.
looks like shit.
I knew all of my life.
Well, he's not young either.
No, he's 65.
That someday it would end. Get up and go outside. Don't let the old man in. Yeah, many moons I have lived. My body's weathered and worn. Just ask yourself, how old would you be if you didn't know the day you were born?
Seems like he's laboring through it.
Mm-hmm.
Try to love on your wife and stay close to your friend. Toast each sundown with wine. Don't let the old man in.
It's a very good song.
Wrote it for Clint Eastwood, who is an old man.
He's a real old man. He's got to be in his 90s.
Yeah. But anyway.
That's a good song.
This Mr. Toby Keith.
And yeah, it's a good song. Sad
guy, probably towards the end.
The reality of life.
That's what I told Jesse. We were watching it in bed, and I said, you know, we're high school sweethearts for people that don't know. The sad reality is, if we live long enough and nothing catastrophic happens to either one of us is going to watch the other one waste away.
Yep.
And I've noticed that with my grandparents because, they're getting older and they're both, they're watching each other kind of wither away, but it's just the way it is. Her grandma's buried 2 husbands, so it's life. You stick together long enough and that's what you're going to have. I got to get out of here. We got a bonfire and we will leave it on that note. Go stream Tyson's songs. God bless Gun Dogs. Really cool dude. And peace out.
Hold on. If the EMP hits October 12th, they're calling for. Me and Andy are going to be stuck up in Canada. So if you see a fat guy and a young guy walking, please get us a horse.
Save a horse,
See
ride
you,
a
bye.
cowboy. All right, go check out our sponsors. After you go listen to the song, go check out Lucky Duck, Dirty Duck Coffee, Double T British Kennels, Ducks Unlimited, Mossberg, Stanfield Outfitters, Alpha Outdoor Specialties, Hemp Hill Farms, Shin Gear, Looking Glass Podcast, Dive Bomb Industries, Pacific Calls, Boss Shot Shells, and MLR Graphics.